भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनम् हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृतसताम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरो दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. Okay, so I'll share my screen like last time and we'll continue. Chapter 6. Are you able to see the screen? Is it big enough?
Yes,
I'll make it.
Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so we had done till verse 25 last time. So we'll just, so here again, just a very quick recap is that Maitri Muni has been asked by Vidurji that please enlighten me about how the Lord goes about the creation process. And he is giving all this information about the creation process in a shorter version to Vidurji because the whole thing as a whole creation process has been explained in much more details in the second canto also. So this is sort of a repetition only. And according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, this repetition is in a way uh, presented here so that there is a sort of reconfirmation that yes, everything is correct only. Because normally what happens is there can be a little difference in different kalpas of Brahma, which is called kalpa bhed. So different days of Brahma, there may be some small variations, but more or less the process will remain the same, and that is what is being confirmed here also. So we saw that the demigods they approached um, the Lord, the Supreme Lord, and said that yes, we have all the Mahat Tattva and all, but then we don't know what to do. How do we create it? So they offer a lot of prayers to the Lord, and then the Lord is pleased with those prayers, and he says, "Okay, let me help you out." And he assumes the universal form, and as he wants the various parts of the universal form, the body to appear, it appears, and then various sense devatas are given the jobs to take care of the various aspects of it. For example, the eyes, the Adhideva is sun god. For the ears, it is the Dig Devatas. For the nostrils, for smelling purpose, for the Gandha, which is the Tanmatra, it is Ashwini Kumar. For the speech, the mouth, Agni Dev is there. So he's responsible for speech. Yeah. So all these demigods, they're all serving the Lord. And it's only because of their presence that we are able to successfully manage things here with this body, with this complex body which we have, because there is somebody working. They are all expansions of those demigods who are present in each and every body. Yeah, taking care of all these things. So Varun Dev is responsible for the taste. So many different ones are there. So each and every the hands are Indradev. So many of them which we covered last time. Yeah. So now we'll just read the translation of the 25th and then we'll move to the 26th. Yeah.
Prabhu, one
So,
question.
yeah.
I just wanted to know, ये जो मतलब ये प्रोसेस तब है जब ब्रह्मा जी पहले ब्रह्मा जी पैदा हुए हैं कमल के फूल से, या जब
Yeah.
ब्रह्मा जी को नींद आती है उस टाइम तो वो वैसे का वैसे ही रहता है ना, मतलब ठीक है प्रलय आती है, लेकिन ब्रह्मा जी का जन्म और इन महातत्व वगैरह इन सब का वैसे ही वैसा रहता है।
या सो ब्रह्मा जी जो रोज उठते हैं, ही हैज टू स्टार्ट दिस प्रोसेस. So all this महातत्व will be there. The creation process has to be done. The secondary creation रोज उनको करना पड़ता है प्रतिदिन.
अच्छा अच्छा,
और जब
मतलब
उनका महाप्रलय होता है
हाँ।
आफ्टर 4.3 ट्रिलियन ईयर्स, या और 4 ट्रिलियन 3 बिलियन ईयर्स 32 बिलियन ईयर्स जो भी है वो, जब वो उनका लाइफ टाइम खत्म होता है, देन एवरीथिंग, हो जितनी भी सृष्टि है, एवरीथिंग गोज इनटू द बॉडी ऑफ महाविष्णु एंड गोज इनटू अ स्लीप स्टेट.
तो
एंड
देन इट स्टार्ट्स विद ब्रह्मा।
देन अगेन इट स्टार्ट्स विद ब्रह्मा. बट ब्रह्मा जी का क्या है कि हर रोज उठते हैं और हर रोज उनको पूरा स्टार्ट करना पड़ता है. एंड टू
हम्म।
हेल्प हिम, ऑल द देवतास आर देयर, ऑल द manus आर देयर, manvantras. दैट्स व्हाई ईच manu इज देयर फॉर 71 महायुग. सो वो वो सारा प्रोसेस होता है. एवरी डे हैज टू बी देयर. एंड सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज, नाउ ऑल द रॉ मटेरियल इज देयर. नाउ ऑल द देवतास आर आस्किंग, okay, what do we do? Please help us. How do we, because devatas are already there, prajapatis and all are there, but आगे और कैसे बढ़ाएं, please help us with that. So that first part of creation, sub creation, has been done by Brahma ji. And then now to take on and create पूरी सृष्टि रचानी है तो कैसे करना है. So उसका फिर then that's where the Lord has come in.
थैंक यू।
And all the karmendriyas, gyanendriyas, wo sare we have already covered. And now we're talking about the subtle senses which are there. So that is what is going to be covered now. So heart is actually the area in which all the four subtle senses or subtle organs are there, which are called karana. अंतर मीन्स इंटरनल, सो अंतर करना, अंदर है, दिखते नहीं है ये. सो इसमें फोर में है बुद्धि, मन, अहंकार और चित्त. These four things, these are now going to be shown that how this is going to be coming in all the bodies. Yeah. So again, the Vishwaroop is a prototype. So Lord says, okay, this is how it should be. Hands, legs, what are the duties, what are the responsibilities for various things. And then मन चाहिए, अहंकार चाहिए, इंटेलिजेंस चाहिए, बुद्धि चाहिए, चित्त चाहिए, ये चार भी चाहिए. So now we're going to see how that is going to get manifested. So we can just actually 23rd say है मेरे ख्याल से ये. So we can just read the translations only so that the flow is there. Legs हो गया 23rd. When the intelligence of the gigantic form separately became manifest, Brahma, the Lord of the Vedas, entered into it with the partial power of understanding, and thus an object of understanding is experienced by the living entity. So मन जो है उसका दिग्देव, not दिग्देवता, the Adi Devata is Brahma ji. Yeah. No, sorry, intelligence. It's not man. It's intelligence. Intelligence is coming from Brahmaji. Yeah. So, and what is the tanmatra, or the essence of intelligence? The understanding, to be able to understand things. Yeah. So, verse 24. After that, so heart area में ही है. Four different parts of the hearts are there. Heart is there. And in each of the parts, so one part will have the intelligence, one will have the mind, one will have the ahankar, and one will have the chitta, which is the consciousness. After that, the heart of the gigantic form separately manifested itself, and into it entered the moon demigod with partial mental activity. Thus, the living entity can conduct mental speculations. So, पहले intelligence का बताया, then the which is taken care of by Brahmaji, then the mind, which is taken care of by moon god, yeah, Som. So that's why I told last time also that the mental capabilities and all, it depends a lot on the solar, the moon position also. Some people sometimes react in a different way during the full moon. या अमावस के दिन कुछ हो जाता है, कुछ तो गड़बड़ हो सकती है. So those kind of things. So that's why even the English word lunatic is coming from lunar only. Yeah, because the moon god is responsible for the mind. verse 25 also we did, so we'll just read the thing. So this is going to talk about ahankar, yeah. Thereafter, the materialistic ego of the gigantic form separately manifested itself. So gigantic form means the Virat roop of the Lord, yeah. And into it entered Rudra, the controller of false ego, with his own partial activities by which the living entity transacts his objective actions. So the identification, the what is the job of ahankar? It is to be able to identify yourself. Yeah. But unfortunately, what happens is we come under false identification. Yeah. So mithya ahankar hota hai hamara. It's not the real identity. Real identity is that we have to serve the Lord. Yeah. Jivera Swarupa hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. But we come under this false identity, false ego. So we'll do from verse 26 now. And there are 40 verses in this chapter. So by Krishna's mercy, we'll try to complete this chapter today if possible. Yeah. Sattvam chasya vinirбhinnam mahandhishnyam upavishat chittenamshena yenasau vijnanam pratipadyate. Thereafter,
Should we
when
read
his...
translation, Prabhu?
Yeah, sure. Okay, you can read. Yeah.
Thereafter, when his consciousness separately manifested itself, the total energy, Mahatattva, entered with his conscious part. Thus, the living entity is able to conceive specific knowledge.
Yeah. So that is now we've talked about the three subtle things which are there in the heart region. Now we're talking about the consciousness or the chitta. So we all know that the consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Yeah, it is the consciousness which is there, which is making us do things. Yeah, the soul is spreading throughout the body in the form of consciousness. So that is the symptom. So, and Vishnuji himself, yeah, here there's a reference, Mahan. Mahan means Vishnuji, yeah, the total energy. So he is um, the demigod responsible. He is the Adideva of the thing. So these all things are happening in the heart region, yeah. So heart region में in a way you can try to imagine it that the heart is divided into four areas. So एक जगह पे intelligence, then mind, then ahankar, and then chitta. As a four, we can just try to remember. So he's so Vasudev or Mahan is Vishnu. He's the demigod who's responsible for it. And what is accomplished by chitta? What is accomplished by consciousness? It is the awareness. Yeah, the chitta means to be aware of things. So that is what is provided by that. So normally what happens is human beings, you always know, yeah, that human beings have a higher awareness, a higher consciousness, as opposed to say plants or trees. Yeah, they have much lower levels of consciousness. And yeah, so Sattvam means the consciousness. Srila Prabhupada has translated that. And that is that's the area in the heart where consciousness is located. Yeah. So Vijnanam, so this is clear. There's no purport in this, but it's just the various parts which are there. So these are the subtle things which are there, which is mentioned here. So we have done all the gross. Now we have done the subtle. Now from verse 27 onwards till verse 33, it's going to be talking about the development of the various planets which are there, development of the living entities, all the varnas which are there. Uska thoda sa hoga. Now that's what we're going to be doing. And there will be, I think, there are purports for some of them. So we can see what Srila Prabhupada also talks about in these. शीष्णोस्य द्यौर्धारपद्भ्याम् खं नाभेरुपपद्यत गुणानां वृत्तयो येषु प्रतीयन्ते सुरादयः. Okay.
Thereafter, from the head of the gigantic form, the heavenly planets were manifested, and from his legs, the earthly planets, and from his abdomen, the sky separately manifested themselves. Within them, the demigods and others also were manifested in terms of the modes of material nature.
Yeah. So again, from the head of the Virat Roop or the universal form, the Swarg planets, the heavenly planets were there. Yeah. And then from his feet will appear from his legs or from the, yeah, so legs say earthly planet side. And then his abdomen was, the navel area is where the Bhuvar lok comes. So they normally हम बोलते हैं ना तीन लोक हैं, three planetary systems are there, or three worlds are there, not planetary system, three worlds, तीन लोक बोलते हैं. So that is the Bhuvar and Swarg lok. Yeah. So that is what is talked about here. And these are the transformations of the various gunas. Yeah. So in the further verses, the distinction will be given कि heaven में कौन से गुण होते हैं, earth में कौन से होते हैं, भूवर में कौन से गुण होते हैं. आत्यन्तिकेन सत्त्वेन दिवं देवा प्रपेदिरे धरां रज स्वभावेन पणयो ये च ताननु. The demigods qualify. Oh, sorry. Appadi, please.
The demigods, qualified by the super excellent quality of the mode of goodness, are situated in the heavenly planets, whereas the human beings, because of their nature in the mode of passion, live on the earth in company with their subordinates. In Bhagavad Gita 14.14 and 15, it is said that those who are highly developed in the mode of goodness are promoted to the higher heavenly planetary system, and those who are overpowered by the mode of passion are situated in the middle planetary systems, the Earth and similar planets. But those who are surcharged with the mode of ignorance are degraded to the lower systems or to the animal kingdom. The demigods are highly developed in the mode of goodness, and thus they are situated in the heavenly planets. Below human beings are the animals. Although some of them mingle with human society, cows, horses, dogs, etc., are habituated to living under the protection of human beings. The word Atyantakena is very significant in this verse. By development of the mode of goodness of material nature, one can become situated in the heavenly planets. But by excessive development of the modes of passion and ignorance, the human beings indulges in killing the animals who are meant to be protected by mankind. Persons who indulge in unnecessary animal killing have excessively developed in the modes of passion and ignorance and have no hope of advancing to the mode of goodness. They are destined to be degraded to lower statuses of life. The planetary systems are calculated as upper and lower in terms of the classes of living entities who live there. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very nice purport also. Very impactful as always. So what happens in the heavenly planets, the demigods and all who stay? So they are mainly in the Atyantikena. Atyantikena means अत्यंत, बहुत ज्यादा, बहुत ही अधिक, अत्याधिक सत्व गुण में होते हैं, या excessive सत्व गुण. So they are awarded higher planets. Yeah, they are in the heavenly planets, where the quality of life, of course, is much better. Yeah, much subtle pleasures are there, subtler enjoyment of pleasures are there. The life is much longer. There is no old age in the heavenly planets. Yeah, but there is a time limit, even in the heavenly planets, and there is a fear factor also in the heavenly planets. So it is uh, a reflection of the jivas being in very high level of mode of goodness, that they get promoted to such planets. Yeah, and men basically are the people like us, the human beings and all. We are in the a middle planet, which is the Earth, basically Earth planetary systems. So even in the Bhagavad Gita, as Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्वस्था, तो जो सत्व गुण में रहते हैं वो ऊपर जाते हैं मतलब हेवनली प्लैनेट्स. एंड देन मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसा, एंड मिडिल प्लैनेट्स में जो मोड ऑफ पैशन में रहते हैं तो हु आर देयर इन रजोगुण, दे विल बी इन द अर्थ प्लैनेट. एंड देन जो जगन्य लोग होते हैं, जगन्य गुण वृत्ति के साथ होते हैं, दे गो डाउन, अधो गच्छन्ति. या सो तामसा, जो तामसिक प्रवृत्ति के लोग हैं, दे गो लोअर डाउन, या लोअर प्लैनेटरी सिस्टम, और basically they'll go down in the animal kingdom. Yeah. So that is what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned here, that those who are surcharged with the mode of ignorance, surcharged, yeah, exceedingly ignorant, then they go to the lower planetary systems or to the animal kingdoms. Yeah. So demigods are in very highly developed mode of goodness. So they have a better living. So it's like they're awarded this situation for being always in the mode of goodness. It's not to say that they're always in the mode of goodness, because there is an element of passion also when one is in the heavenly planets. It's not that it's only goodness, but primarily they're in the modes of goodness. So they get promoted to those things. And again, if you're talking about the cycle of life and birth, cycle of birth and death, then in that case, what happens is all the people who are predominantly in the mode of goodness in the Earth planet also, they will also be promoted as an award, yeah, to the higher planets. Yeah, सत्व गुण में रहेंगे यहाँ पे, जितना हम अच्छे कर्म करेंगे, जितना पुण्य कमाएंगे, we go to the higher planets. But our understanding as devotees is that we don't hanker for the heavenly planets also, because that's a temporary planet. We don't want to be satisfied with just heavenly planets. Our aim is much higher, going back to Golok Vrindavan. That's where we want to target. So Srila Prabhupada has also mentioned here the word Atyantikena means Atyanta, Atyadhik, too much in Sattvagun. Yeah, it's very significant. So by development of the mode of goodness of material nature, one can be situated in heavenly planets. But more you get into passion, then you stay here. Yeah, you'll get a human body. The human being indulges in the killing of animals which are meant to be protected. That means you're acting in the mode of ignorance. This will take you down to the lower planetary systems, or you yourself will be degraded in the status of evolution. So you will get an animal body in the next life, which is absolutely scary. So now he's going to talk about the third mode. Primarily in the previous verse, it was talking about the Sattvagun and the Rajogun. Yeah. So now he's going to talk about the Tartiyena, which is the third mode, Tritiya mode. Yeah. Tartiyena swabhavena bhagavanabhimashritah ubhayorantaram vyoma ye rudrapashadam ganaha.
Living entities who are associates of Rudra develop in the third mode of material nature or ignorance. They are situated in the sky between the earthly planets and the heavenly planets. The middle portion of the sky is called Bhuvarlok, as confirmed by both Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti and Srila Jeev Goswami. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that those who develop in the mode of passion are situated in the middle region. Those who are situated in the mode of goodness are promoted to the regions of the demigods, and those who are situated in the mode of passion are placed in the human society. And those who are situated in the mode of ignorance are placed in the society of animals or ghosts. There are no contradictions in this conclusion. Numerous living entities are distributed all over the universe in different planets and so situated in terms of their own qualities in the modes of material nature.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So yeah, so this is the third word which is talking about the तीसरा लोक जो है, which is in the middle portion. So bhur, bhur, and swarg, swar. So even in the Gayatri we say Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. So these are the three words we are talking about. So yes, predominantly if you're in the mode of ignorance, if you've taken shelter of or you're an associate of Lord Rudra, then he is representing the mode of ignorance. He is not in the mode of ignorance. Yeah, that is one thing we have to understand clearly. That even though he is representing the mode, he himself is not in ignorance. Yeah, Shivji is not in the mode of ignorance. So all these people who are there, they have a separate planet. So the way you behave, what you want, you will get. So one should also realize here that Krishna is so merciful that he always gives you a situation which you have asked for. He never punishes you. Yeah. So अरे मेरे को तो यहाँ डाल दिया आपने. That's what you wanted. That's how you were behaving. Yeah. So that's why we put you in the overload, for example. Yeah. If you're behaving in an animalistic manner, full of ignorance, then yeah, chances are that that's what you want. Okay, you get that. So that's exactly what is there. So there is no contradiction on this conclusion. So जैसा your nature is there, you'll be given a place to live. Yeah. Is it clear so far? It's not too complicated. It's just that how the Lord is mercifully helping create everything. That's all. Yeah. Okay. Then what happens? Now we're talking about the Varnas and all. So verse 30. Mukhato vartata brahma purushasya kurudhvaha yastun varnanam mukhyo bhut brahmano guruha.
O chief of the Kuru dynasty, the Vedic wisdom became manifested from the mouth of the Virat, the gigantic form. Those who are inclined to this Vedic knowledge are called Brahmanas, and they are the natural teachers and spiritual masters of all the orders of society. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.13, the four orders of the human society developed with the order of the body of the gigantic form. The bodily divisions are the mouth, arms, waist, and legs. Those who are situated on the mouth are called Brahmanas. Those who are situated on the arms are called Kshatriyas. Those who are situated on the waist are called Vaishyas, and those who are situated on the legs are called Shudras. Everyone is situated in the body of the Supreme in his gigantic Vishwarup form. In terms of the four orders, therefore, no caste is to be considered degraded because of being situated on a particular part of the body. In our own bodies, we do not show any actual difference in our treatment towards the hands or legs. Each and every part of the body is important, although the mouth is the most important of the bodily parts. In other words, in other parts are cut off. If other parts are cut off from the body, a man can continue his life. But if the mouth is cut off, one cannot live. Therefore, this most important part of the body of the Lord is called the sitting place of the Brahmanas, who are inclined to the Vedic wisdom. One who is not inclined to the Vedic wisdom but to mundane affairs cannot be called a Brahmana, even if he is born in a Brahman family or father. To have a Brahman father does not qualify one to be Brahman. The main qualification of a Brahman is to be inclined to the Vedic wisdom. The Vedas are situated in the mouth of the Lord, and therefore anyone who is inclined to the Vedic wisdom is certainly situated on the mouth of the Lord, and he is a Brahman. This inclination towards Vedic wisdom is also not restricted to any particular caste or community. Anyone from any family and from any part of the world may become inclined to the Vedic wisdom, and that will qualify him as a real Brahman. A real Brahman of the nature is the natural teacher or spiritual master. Unless one has Vedic knowledge, one cannot become a spiritual master. The perfect knowledge of the Vedas is to know the Lord and the personality of is to know the Lord, the personality of the Godhead, and that is the end of the Vedic knowledge or Vedanta. One who is situated in the impersonal Brahman and has no information of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead may become a Brahman, but he cannot become a spiritual master. It is said in the Padam Puran, Sat Karma Nipanyo Vipro, Mantra Tantra Visarda, Avishnasho Gurur Na Sayad, Vaishnav Suya Paso Guru. An impersonalist can become a qualified Brahman, but he cannot become a spiritual master unless and until he is promoted to the stage of the Vaishnav or a devotee of the personality of the Godhead. Lord Chaitanya, the great authority of the Vedic wisdom in the modern age, stated, Kiba var vipra, kiba nyasi, sudra ken nya, yei Krishna tattva veta sei guru hoya. The person who may be a Brahman or a Shudra or a sannyasi, but if he happens to be the well versed in the science of Krishna, then he is fit to become a spiritual master. That is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 8.128. The qualification then of a spiritual master is not to be a qualified Brahman, but to be well versed in the science of Krishna. One who is conversant with Vedic wisdom is a Brahman, and only a Brahman who is a pure Vaishnav and knows all the intricacies of the science of Krishna can become a spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
Okay. What a beautiful purport. No? So much packed into this by Srila Prabhupada. So he's given in great detail. So again, we're talking about how the Lord has manifested the various varnas. So from the mouth of the Lord, the Brahman is situated in the mouth of the Lord because he's always favorable. Yeah. So what is the word used here? Tunmukhatvad. So unmukha hai. Unmukh means facing towards. Yeah. And vimukh means facing away. So he's always facing towards the Lord or facing towards the Vedic principles. So he's coming from the mukhya, from the mukha, the Brahman is coming. Yeah. And he has the capability of becoming a guru also. So he's starting with the 4.13 Chaturvarnyam Maya Shrishta Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So it's the जो चार varna hai. Krishna is saying that all these four varnas are my own creations, and which is being confirmed here in the Srimad Bhagavatam also. So, and this depends not on birth, but based on the guna and karma of the various people. So, and then Krishna says, what are the positions of Kshatriya, which part of the body, which will come in the further verses. So, for example, the arms represent the Kshatriyas, and then the waist or the belly, khana chahiye, so that represents the Vaishyas, yeah, who make sure that all the commercial activities are done, Vanijya, Gauraksha, all those things are done, and they take care of the feeding, which is a very important part. And then the legs are representative of the Shudras. But Srila Prabhupada has said that it's not to be thought that any of these parts are less important. All these four varnas are very important in the society. Yeah. But mouth is most important. He's saying mouth is most important because if you lose one of the limbs of the body, you can still continue living, but losing the mouth, then you cease to exist. Yeah. And here again, he's talking about a Brahman is not a Brahman just because he's taken birth in the family of a Brahman. Yeah. The Brahminical qualities have to be there in the person. Yeah. So the main qualification of a Brahman is he has to be inclined to the Vedic wisdoms. Yeah. So Vedas are situated in the mouth of the Lord. So the Brahmins automatically, they are facing that. They are unmukha. They want to learn more about it. They want to talk more about it. Yeah. So that is what a Brahman does. Yeah. And the inclination towards Vedic wisdom is also not restricted to any caste or community. That means Brahman is not by birth. Yeah. We know in our parampara, in our sampradaya, so many people have taken birth in Western countries. They do not have a Brahminical birth, so to say. And they are not Brahmins anymore, actually. They are beyond Brahmins. They are all Vaishnavas. Yeah. Vaishnav is the one who knows about Vishnu, who knows the God consciousness, the science of spiritual realization has to be known. So then you become a Vaishnav. It's the topmost. Brahmins are top, but Vaishnav is topmost. So these verses are basically talking about that only. That in the Padma Puran, it says that uh, Satkarma karne se, okay, you can become a Vipra or a Brahmin. But then you don't necessarily qualify to become a guru. You can't become a spiritual master. But a Vaishnav, even if he's from a family of Sopacho means Chandal, one who is a dog eater, even he can become a guru because he is a Vaishnav now. He's understood the science of spiritual realization. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is also very nice verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Kiva Vipra Kivanyasi Shudra Ke Nanaya Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Se Guru Hoya. So क्या विप्र, क्या ब्राह्मण, क्या सन्यासी, शूद्र कोई हो, बट जिसको कृष्ण तत्व पूरा आता है, या कृष्ण तत्व वेत्त. Tattva means knowing it in essence. Yeah, knowing about Krishna in essence. Veta means one who knows, knowledge. From Vidya it comes. Say Guru hoye. जिसको कृष्ण consciousness आती है, who knows the science of Krishna, he is fit to be a guru. So that is very, very important for us to realize. One who is conversant with Vedic wisdom is a Brahman, and only a Brahman who is a pure Vaishnava. Yeah, pure Vaishnava. So Vishnu ko bhakt jo hai, and knows all the intricacies of the science of Krishna can become a spiritual master. So is this clear? This is very important for us to realize, yeah, that we should not focus on somebody's birth. Yeah, we have to focus beyond that. So verse 31, Bahubhyo वर्तता क्षत्रं क्षत्रियस्तद् अनुव्रतः यो जातस्त्रायते वर्णान् पौरुषकाण्टक शतात्.
Rao Prabhu, you like to speak?
Yeah, I can read the translation.
No, Rao Prabhu will do.
I'll
sorry.
read, Prabhu. Hare
Sure.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Translation. Thereafter, the power of protection was generated from the arms of the gigantic Virat form, and in relation to such power, the Kshatriyas also came into existence by following the Kshatriya principle of protecting society from the disturbance of thieves and miscreants. Purport. As the Brahmanas are recognized by their particular qualification of inclination towards the transcendental knowledge of Vedic wisdom, so also the Kshatriyas are recognized by the power to protect society from the disturbing elements of thieves and miscreants. The word Anuvrata is significant. A person who follows the Kshatriya principles by protecting society from thieves and miscreants is called Kshatriya, not the one who is simply born a Kshatriya. The conception of the caste system is always based on quality and not on the qualification of birth. Birth is an extraneous consideration. It is not the main feature of the orders and divisions. In Bhagavad Gita 18.41 to 44, the qualifications of the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras are specifically mentioned, and it is understood that all such qualifications are needed before one can be designated as belonging to a particular group. Lord Vishnu is always mentioned as the Purusha in all Vedic scriptures. Sometimes the living entities are also mentioned as Purusas, although they are essentially Purusha Shakti, Parashakti, Paraprakriti, the superior energy of the Purusha, illusioned by the external potential of the Purusha, the Lord. The living entities falsely think of themselves as the Purusha, although they actually have no qualifications. The Lord has the power to protect. Of the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, the first has the power to create, the second has the power to protect, and the third as the
Sorry.
yeah, and the third as the power to destroy. The word Purusha is significant in this verse because the Kshatriyas are expected to represent the Purusha Lord in giving protection to the Prajas, or all those who are burned in the land and water. Protection is therefore meant for both man and the animals. In modern society, the Prajas are not protected from the hands of thieves and miscreants. The modern democratic state, which has no Kshatriyas, is a government of the Vaishyas and Sudras and not of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas as formerly. Maharaja Yudhishthira and his grandson Maharaja Parikshit were typically Kshatriya kings, for they gave protection to all men and animals. When the personification of Kali attempted to kill a cow, Maharaja Parikshit at once prepared himself to kill the miscreant, and the personification of Kali was banished from his kingdom. That is the sign of a Purusha, or the representative of Lord Vishnu. According to Vedic civilization, a qualified Kshatriya monarch is given the respect of the Lord because he represents the Lords by giving protection to the Prajas. Modern elected presidents cannot give protection from the theft cases, and therefore one has to take protection from an insurance company. The problems of modern human society are due to the lack of qualified Brahmanas and Kshatriyas and the over influence of the Vaishyas and Sudras by so-called general franchise. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, sure. Very nice. Thank you, Prabhu. So yeah, again, he is re-emphasizing, Srila Prabhupada is re-emphasizing that it's not by your birth, yeah, it is by your qualities, your guna and your karma, what in which category you will follow. So he's saying that anuvrata. He said the word anuvrata is very important. So people who follow their innate quality of protecting others. Yeah. So Kshatriya, the word itself, Shat means Shati, yeah, or harm. And Triya means Traya, or one who delivers. So one who delivers you from any kind of harm is called a Kshatriya. So automatically they become warriors, they're protectors. Yeah. So the rulers will be Kshatriyas, the soldiers will be Kshatriyas, because that is their job of protecting the common people, the weaker people, from thieves, miscreants, troublemaker, mischief makers, all of that. So that is the understanding here. Yeah. And he's mentioned that in Bhagavad Gita, for verses 18, chapter 41 to 44, what are the qualities of the people in the four varnas? That's given there. And then he's also talking about that there is only one Purusha. We have to understand this, that there is only one Purusha, which is Krishna. We are all actually Prakriti. But just for the sake of dealing on a day-to-day basis, yeah, conducting our lives on a day-to-day basis, sometimes the living entities are also called Purushas. I am a Purusha. I have a Purusha body. But actually, there is only one Purusha, yeah, which is Krishna. He is the only enjoyer. We are all Prakriti. But we have a para prakriti. We are a superior nature. So actually, we are in a very fortunate position to be in as Purushas or as Jivas, because we are above the external energy of the Lord. But still, the external energy of the Lord is so potent, so powerful that it's able to dominate us, and we come into illusion, and we want to be dominated and dictated by the external energy, which is Maya. Yeah. Otherwise, if we are facing towards Krishna all the time, if we are unmukha towards Krishna, then Maya cannot touch us. But Maya is very strong, so we have to give a lot of respect to Maya. But at the same time, seek shelter of Krishna's feet. So yeah, Prajapati. So they are the ones, the Kshatriyas are the ones who are protecting the Praja, basically. And he's talked about um, the exalted kings like Maharaj Parikshit, and also they were actually Rajarishis also. They were not just Rajas, because they used to follow all their everything what they did, the whole rule which they did. Their reign was followed based on all the Vedic principle. They had top Brahmanas there to guide them. Yeah, they would take advice from top Brahmanas, all these Rajarishis. So that's the thing. So I think this is fairly clear. Any questions here, or can we move forward? It's okay.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So then next, so we've done Brahmanas, we've done Kshatriyas. Now verse 32 is going to talk about the Vaishyas. Visho vartanta tasyorvor lokavritti karir vibhoha Vaishyastad udbhavo vartam nramya samavartayat.
The means of livelihood of all persons, namely production of grains and their distribution to the prajas, was generated from the thighs of the Lord gigantic form. The mercantile men who take charge of such execution are called Vaishyas. Human society means Human society's means of living is clearly mentioned here as visa or agriculture and the business of distributing agriculture products, which involves transport, banking, etc. Industry is an artificial means of livelihood. And large scale industry, especially in this, is the source of all the product problems of society. In Bhagavad Gita, also the duties of the Vaishyas are Vaishyas who are engaged in visa are stated as crowd protection, agriculture, and business. We have already discussed that the human beings can safely depend on the cow and agricultural land for his livelihood. The exchange of produce by banking and transportation is a branch of this type of living. The Vaishyas are divided into many subsections. Some are called Kshetri or landowners. Some are called Krasanna or tillers. Some are called Tilavanik, Tilavanik or grain raisers. Some are called Gandhavanik or merchants in spices, and some are called Suvarnavanik or merchants in golden banking. The Brahmanas are the teachers and spiritual masters. The Kshatriyas protect the citizens from the hands of the thieves and miscreants, and the Vaishyas are in charge of production and distribution. The Shudras, the unintelligent class of the men who cannot act independently in any of the above mentioned activities, are meant for serving the three higher classes for their livelihood. Formerly, the Brahmanas were given all the necessities of life by the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas because they had no time to spend making a living. The Kshatriyas would collect taxes from the Vaishyas and Shudras, but the Brahmanas were exempt from paying income tax or the land revenue. That system of human society was so nice that there were no political, social, and economic upheavals. The different castes or Varna classifications are therefore essential for maintaining a peaceful human society. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru. So yeah, so nicely again, Srila Prabhupada has given in this purport. So here it says that from the thighs of the Lord, yeah, the um, Vaishyas came. But in the previous purport, Srila Prabhupada had said in the belly. So sometimes it's belly, sometimes it's the thighs. But the job of the Vaishyas is to production of grains, taking care of cows, doing trading activities, yeah. So to ensure that the livelihood of all the people is taken care of, yeah. And traditionally, again, so here the word used by, so means of living is used as visha, yeah. So this is the visha. Visha means means of living, how you have to conduct your life and all. And avartanta means avatar lete hain or is generated, yeah, from the thighs of the Lord, yeah. And what's their job? Lokavritti. So लोगों की livelihood provide करने में they help, yeah. And always Srila Prabhupada says industry is an artificial means of livelihood. and large-scale industries especially is the source of all problems. So he's always, that's why all these various farm communities which Srila Prabhupada has established and subsequently various Maharajas from ISKCON have established. The whole idea is to stay in the Vedic way of living. Yeah, have a farm, have animals, grow your own vegetables, grow your own rice, wheat, everything, all the things. Because Krishna has given everything. There's no need for having these artificial industries and all, which Srila Prabhupada says is the source of all problems. Yeah, which is so true. And then he's nicely mentioned that the Vaishyas are divided into subsections. So some are called Kshetris. Kshetra means field, yeah, or landowners, yeah. So they just own the lands, and they may themselves be Krishna also, or one who do the Krishi actually, yeah, or the farming part, the tilling of the land, yeah, or separate people. So I can be a landowner and I can employ people to come and work on my land, yeah. So that happens, of course. And then some of them are called Tilavanik. Tilavanik means they raise grains, yeah. And then some are called Gandhavanik. Gandha means Khushbu, yeah, Gandha. So they deal in spices and all, merchants and spices. Suvarnavanik, gold and silver, yeah. So those kind of things are banking. So nice description is given of subsections of the Vaishyas also. Yeah. And then of the four Varnas, Brahmins are the ones who do not have to pay any taxes. Kshatriyas, the job is to ensure that everything, all the ruling is done in a proper way, and then they collect taxes for this service from the Vaishyas and the Shudras, and the Brahmanas receive the tax and they conduct their livelihood based on that. So the different castes or Varna classifications are therefore essential for maintaining a peaceful human society. So again, he's just re-emphasizing all these points, which we have done in so many previous, even Bhagavad Gita also, Srila Prabhupada has explained this in great details. And then now we've done the three Varnas, now the fourth one. Padbhyam Bhagavato Jagne Sushrushā dharma siddhaye tasyam jatah pura shudro yadvritya tushyate harihi. There are, okay, yeah. Can somebody read?
Hare Krishna. Translation. Thereafter, service was manifested from the legs of the personality of Godhead for the sake of perfecting the religious function. Situated on the legs are the Sudras who satisfy the Lord by service. Purport. Service is the real constitutional occupation of living entities. The living entities are meant to render service to the Lord, and they can attain religious perfection by this service attitude. One cannot attain religious perfection simply by speculating to attain theoretical knowledge. The Gnani, division of spiritualists, go on speculating only to distinguish the soul from matter, but they have no information of the activities of the soul after being liberated by the knowledge. It is said that persons who only mentally speculate to know things as they are and who do not engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord are simply wasting their time. It is clearly said here that the principle of service was generated from the legs of the Lord for the sake of perfecting the religious process. But this transcendental service is different from the idea of service in the material world. In the material world, no one wants to be a servant. Everyone wants to become the master because false membership is the basic disease of the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul in the material world wants to lord it over others. Illusioned by the external energy of the Lord, he is forced to become a servant of the material world. That is the real position of the conditioned soul. The lost snare of the illusory external energy is the conception of becoming one with the Lord, and due to this conception, the illusioned soul remains in the bondage of material energy, falsely thinking himself a liberated soul and as a good as Narayana. It is actually better to be a Sudra than to be a Brahmana and not develop the service attitude, because that attitude alone satisfies the Lord. Every living being, even if he be a Brahmana, by qualification must take to the transcendental service to the Lord. Both Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam support that this service attitude is a perfection of the living entity. A Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra can perfect his occupational duties only by rendering service unto the Lord. A Brahmana is supposed to know this fact due to his perfection in Vedic wisdom. The other sections are supposed to follow the direction of the Brahmana Vaishnava, one who is Brahmana by qualification and a Vaishnava by action. That will make the entire society perfect in regard to the order of its social construction. A disordered society cannot satisfy either the members of the society or the Lord. Even if one is not a perfect Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, but takes to the service of the Lord, not caring for the perfection by his social position, he becomes perfect human being simply by developing the attitude of service to the Supreme Lord. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Yeah, Shri Prabhupada. Wow. Again, very impactful purport here. So here the description of the Shudra is given that he Shudra manifest from the feet or the legs of the Virat Purush. And what is the main purpose of the Shudra? To serve all the other Varnas, other three Varnas. That is the thing. But Srila Prabhupada has very nicely mentioned here that service is the most important aspect of our life. We are at any given time we are serving someone or the other. Yeah, we may think that we are the boss, we may think that we are the controller, but we are doing service to someone or the other, either at work or at home. Yeah, that is a natural thing for us, and that's the real constitutional occupation of all living entities. The living entities are meant to render service to the Lord, and they can attain religious perfection by this service attitude. So, what is the verse which you can relate to for this one? Any ideas? It's a very famous verse from Bhagavatam only. Service to Adhokshaja. So, in the first canto, this verse comes one in the second chapter. Savai pumsam parodharma yathor bhaktir adhokshaje ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. What that means is that the param dharma for all the mankind is yathor bhaktir adhokshaja, to serve or do bhakti. Bhakti means service only. Yeah. To adhokshaja. Adhokshaja means it's another name for Krishna. Adhokshaja means one who cannot be perceived by material senses. And how, in what mood should we do this bhakti? Ahetuki apratihata. Ahetuki means without any expectation in result, in return. Yeah, causelessly. Hetu means because. Yeah, there is a cause, I'm doing it, I'll get something in return. Ahetuki means I'm doing the service because I want to serve. Yeah. And apratihata is unbroken or continuous. So it has to be done continuously. And then what happens if you do this? Yayatma suprasidati. Your Atma is really pleased. Yeah. Because that's a natural thing for the soul to do. Yeah. So that's what's being mentioned here. The Srila Prabhupada says that that is the param dharma for all of us, that we have to engage in bhakti for Krishna. Yeah. And then he's talking about all the gyanis who are there. They're only speculating. Yeah. They're speculating and trying to find about the Lord using their own efforts. That's not going to really help them because they're just wasting their time. You cannot mentally speculate and try to find the Lord because mental means thinking, using your mind and trying to figure out who is Krishna. But mind is a material thing. Yeah, it's not transcendental. It's not a spiritual thing. It's a gross body of ours. So we will not succeed if you're just trying to speculate. And the Lord loves the Shudras. Why? Because of their service nature, because they're naturally providing so much service. So the Lord really likes them also, which is mentioned here. yeah, who satisfied the Lord by service. The conditioned soul, he wants to lord it over everyone. In the material world, the position of a servant is looked down upon. ये तो नौकर है. But in the spiritual world, it is something which is a very, very exalted, very, very high position. Yeah. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, there is a verse which says that Ekale Ishvara Krishna or Sabhi Vritya. Jare Jaiche Nachaya Se Taiche Kare Nitya. Ekala Ishvara Krishna. Krishna is the only controller. ईश्वर means controller. एक ही controller है कृष्णा और सब भृत्य. भृत्य means नौकर. और जैसे जैसे नचाएंगे कृष्णा हम सब वैसे वैसे करेंगे नृत्य. And that is a fact. The sooner we recognize this, the better it will be for us. We are not controllers, we are controlled. We are there to serve the Lord. So in the material world, the position of a servant is very low, which is actually a wrong understanding because service is service. Yeah, if you're a top servant of the Lord, then you're as good as the Lord. Yeah. So, and then again, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned here that the last snare of illusory energy is that the last snare means the trap. Yeah. You try to find out about the Lord using your own resources and trying to figure out who the Lord is. And then in the end, you will fail miserably. And then the last resort will be that, no, I am only God. Yeah. And then you get into the Mayavad thinking that, yes, everybody is God. I am also God. And then you try to think yourself as good as Narayan. So which is a totally wrong understanding. Yeah. So he's glorified in a way, he's glorified the position of a Shudra because Shudra is someone who is always rendering service. Yeah. So that is very important. So that this takes care of another section, which is talked about the Lord creating the planetary systems, the jivas and the varnas. And then from 34 to 40th, the Lord is going to be talking about what is the highest perfection. Yeah. How can you achieve the highest perfection? And the answer is simply by hearing the Lord's glories. Yeah. एते वर्ण स्वधर्मेण यजन्ति स्वगुरुं हरिं श्रद्धात्मा विशुद्ध्यर्थं यज्जाता सहवृत्तिभिः. All these different social divisions. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Can someone read?
All these different social divisions are born with their occupational duties and living conditions from the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Thus, for unconditional life and self realization, one has to worship the Supreme Lord under the direction of the spiritual master. Since they are born from different parts of the body of the Supreme Lord in his gigantic form, all living entities in all parts of the entire universe are supposed to be the eternal servitors of the Supreme Body. Every part of our own body, such as the mouth, hands, thighs, and legs, is meant to render service to the whole. That is their constitutional position. In Shubhuman life, in subhuman life, the living entities are not conscious of this constitutional position, but in the human form of the life, they are supposed to know this through the system of the Varnas, the social orders. As those mentioned, the Brahmanas is the spiritual master of all the orders of society, and thus Brahmanical culture, culminating in the transcendental service of the Lord, is the basic principle for purifying the soul. In conditioned life, the soul is under the impression that he can become the Lord of the universe. And the last point of this misconception is to think our oneself the supreme. The foolish conditioned soul does not take into account that the supreme cannot be conditioned by Maya or illusion. If the Supreme were to become conditioned by illusion, where would be his supremacy? In that case, Maya or illusion would be the Supreme. Therefore, because the living entities are conditioned, they cannot be supreme. The actual position of the conditioned soul is explained in this verse. All the conditioned souls are impure due to contact with the material energy in three modes of nature. Therefore, it is necessary that they purify themselves under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, who not only is a Brahman by qualification but must also be a Vaishnav. The only self purifying process mentioned herein is to worship the Lord under the recognized method, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. That is the natural way of purification, and no other method is recommended as bona fide. The other methods of purification may be helpful to come to this stage of life, but ultimately one has to come to this last point before he attains actual perfection. Bhagavad Gita 7.9 confirms the truth as follows. Bahunam janma namante jnanvan prapadyate vasudevam sarvamiti cha sa mahatma surdudra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So yeah, again, Srila Prabhupada is talking about that what our constitutional position is. In conditional state, we want to be enjoyers, but the constitutional position is that we are the servants of the Lord. That's our job, is to serve the Lord. Yeah. And he's given the example in the body also. Since we are all coming from the body of the Lord, from the Virat Purush, so then that's our job, that we have to serve the Supreme, Supreme body. Every part of our own body, such as mouth, hands, thighs, and legs, is meant to serve the whole. So that is the understanding here. But if you try to go into Gyan and all, eventually, yes, you may come to the level of Bhakti, but then it's after many, many lifetimes. Bahunam janmanam ante Jnanavan mam prapadyate. So what that means is that after many, 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 many lifetimes, will a Jnani come to the position of surrendering to me. Yeah. And Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudev, Vasudev is everything, all in all. Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha. So such a Mahatma is very, very rare. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that don't get into all these things of Gyan and all. Just come straight into Bhakti Marg. Yeah. Otherwise, it's very easy to get waylaid in your spiritual pursuits. Yeah, we'll end up somewhere else itself. So you have to surrender and surrender to a guru. Here also, that this again he's mentioned that it should be a bona fide spiritual master who not only is a Brahman. Brahman means by qualification, by his nature and all, and he should also be a Vaishnava. Means he should know about the science of Krishna. 35. Etat shatar bhagavato deva karmatma rupinah ka shraddhayad upakartum yogamaya balodayam.
Hare Krishna. Translation. O Vidura, who can estimate or measure the transcendental time, work, and potency of the gigantic form manifested by the internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Purport. The froggish philosophers may go on with their mental speculations on the subject matter of the Virat, the gigantic form exhibited by the Yogamaya, internal potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but factually no one can measure such vast exhibition. In Bhagavad Gita 11.16, Arjuna, the recognized devotee of the Lord, says, Aneka Bhaudara Vaktra Netram Pasyami Tvam Sarvato Nantarupam Anantam na Madhyamam na Punasthavadhim Pasyami Visveshwara Vishwarupa. O my Lord, O gigantic Vishwarupa form, O Master of the universe, I see innumerable hands, bodies, mouths, and eyes in all directions, and they are all unlimited. I cannot find the end of this manifestation, nor do I see the middle nor the beginning. Bhagavad Gita was specifically spoken to Arjuna, and the Vishwarupa was exhibited before him at his request. He was awarded the specific eyes to see this Vishwarupa Yet, although he was able to see the Lord's innumerable hands and mouths, he was unable to see him completely. Since Arjuna was unable to estimate the length and breadth of the potential of the Lord, who else would be able to do so? One may only indulge in miscalculation like the frog philosopher. The frog philosopher wanted to estimate the length and breadth of the Pacific Ocean by his experience of a well 3 cubic feet large, and thus he began to puff himself up to become as big as the Pacific Ocean. But at last he burst and died by this process. This story is applicable to the mental philosophers who, under the illusion of the Lord's external energy, indulge in estimating the length and breadth of the Supreme Lord. The best path is to become cool headed, submissive devotee of the Lord. Try to hear about the Lord from the bona fide spiritual master, and thus serve the Lord in transcendental loving service as suggested in the previous verse. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Great. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada, thank you. So yeah, again, same message being hammered down that yeah, don't speculate, surrender. Yeah, don't have this frog philosopher mentality. Yeah, because Maitri Muni is saying, oh Vidur, who can estimate or measure the transcendental time, work, and potencies of Krishna? Yeah, how is it even possible? So I can only try to do something, yeah, tell you something that's going to come in the next verse. It's not possible. It's not possible to know. I mean, Anantashes has been chanting the glories of Krishna from time immemorial, yeah, but he's still not come to an end. Yeah, he's still chanting. So it's not possible. तथा विकीर्तयाम्यङ्ग यथा मति यथा श्रुतम् कीर्तिं हरे स्वां सत्कर्तुम् गिरम् धासतीम्.
In spite of my inability, whatever I have been able to hear from the spiritual master and whatever I could assimilate, I am now describing the glorification of the Lord by pure speech, for otherwise my power of speaking would remain unchaste. The purification of the conditioned soul necessitates for purification of the consciousness. By the presence of the consciousness, the presence of the transcendental soul is verified. And as soon as the consciousness leaves the body, the material body is not active. Consciousness is perceived, therefore, by activities. The theory put forward by empiric philosophers that consciousness can remain in an inactive state of is the proof of their poor fund of knowledge. One should not become unchaste by stopping the activities of pure consciousness. If the activities of pure consciousness are stopped, certainly the conscious living force will be otherwise engaged, because unless engaged, the consciousness has no standing. Consciousness cannot be silent even for a moment. When the body does not act, the consciousness acts in the form of dreams. Unconsciousness is artificial. By induced extraneous help, it remains for a limited period. But when the intoxication of the drug is finished, or when one is awake, the consciousness again acts earnestly. Matri's statement is that in order to avoid unchaste conscious activities, he was trying to describe the unlimited glories of the Lord, although he did not have the ability to describe them perfectly. This glorification of the Lord is not a product of research, but the result of hearing submissively from the authority of the spiritual master. It is also not possible to repeat all that one has heard from from his spiritual master, but one can narrate as far as possible by one's honest endeavor. It does not matter whether the Lord glories are fully explained or not. One must attempt to engage one's bodily, mental, and verbal activities in the transcendental glorification of the Lord. Otherwise, such activities will remain unchaste and impure. The existence of the conditioned soul can be purified only by the method of engaging mind and speech in the service of the Lord. The Tridandi sannyasi of the Vaishnava school accepts three rods, representing the vow to engage in the service of the Lord with body, mind, and speech. whereas the Ekdandi sannyasi takes the vow to become the one with the Supreme. Since the Lord is the Absolute, there is no distinction between him and his glories. The glories of the Lord, as chanted by the Vaishnav sannyasi, are as substantial as the Lord himself. And thus, while glorifying the Lord, the devotee becomes one with him in transcendental interest, although he remains eternally a transcendental servitor. This simultaneously one and different position of the devotee makes him eternally purified, and thus the life becomes a complete success.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So again, a big purport here. But the key takeaway here is that what is Maitre Muni saying here is that Yathamati Yatha Shrutam. जैसे मैंने सुना है अपने गुरु से, आई एम ट्राइंग टू रिपीट दैट. And Yathamati, as per my intelligence. Yeah, I'm just trying to repeat. But there is no way I can fully describe the glories of the Lord. It's impossible. Yeah. So, in spite of my inability, whatever I have been able to hear from my guru and whatever I could assimilate, I am now describing in glorification of the Lord. So, the mood is very important for us to understand also that we need to realize that we cannot assimilate everything. So, but at the same time, we can discuss it with others, not in the mood of an instruction though, but just to enjoy that the pastimes of the Lord, that this is how great the Lord is. Yeah. And if I always use my tongue to talk about the Lord, then it's a good thing. Otherwise, my power of speaking would remain unchanged. If you start talking about the normal, useless things, materialistic things, then that's not the proper use of your tongue. So use your hrid vag vapurbhir, yeah, all your heart, your body, your words, everything has to be used for glorifying the Lord. So that is the takeaway here. एकान्तलाभं वचसोऽनुपुंसां शुश्लोकमौलेर्गुणावादमाहुः श्रुतेश्च विद्वभिरुपाकृतायां सुधायाम् उपसंप्रयोगम्. Anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The highest perfectional gain of humanity is to engage in discussions of the activities and glories of the pious actor. Such activities are so nicely arranged in writing by the greatly learned sages that the actual purpose of the ear is served just by being near them. Purport. The impersonalists are very much afraid of hearing the activities of the Lord because they think that the happiness derived from the transcendental situation of Brahman is the ultimate goal of life. They think that anyone's activity, even that of personality of Godhead, is mundane. But the idea of happiness indicated in this verse is different because it relates to the activities of the Supreme Personality, who has transcendental qualities. The word Gunavadam is significant because the qualities of the Lord and his activities and pastimes are the subject matter for the discussions of devotees. A rishi like Maitreya is certainly not interested in discussing anything pertaining to the mundane qualities, yet he says that the highest perfectional stage of transcendental realization is to discuss the Lord's activities. Srila Jiva Goswami therefore concludes that topics regarding the transcendental activities of the Lord are far beyond the transcendental realization of Kaivalya happiness. The transcendental activities of the Lord are so arranged in writing by the great sages that simply by hearing of those narrations, one becomes perfectly self realized, and the proper use of the ear and the tongue is also achieved. Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the such great literature, and the highest perfectional state of life is attained simply by hearing and reciting its contents. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Subal Prabhu, with your permission and with the permission of all the devotees, can we try to do the next two verses also after this? We can finish the chapter then.
Prabhu, I would prefer so, but if others are okay, then we can.
We can take a vote.
Sushil Prabhu, Rao Prabhu, Amrit Madhav Prabhu.
I'm okay, Prabhuji.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
So
Prabhuji.
because
Hare Krishna.
these are, I don't want to rush through it also because these are very important instructions which we are getting here. That in this verse, for example, the highest perfectional gain of humanity is to engage in discussions of the activities and glories of the Supreme Lord, the pious actor. Yeah. So that is what we have, and that's what we are doing. Yeah, we are, in our own small way, we are attempting to glorify the Supreme Lord. Such activities are so nicely arranged in writing by greatly learned sages that the actual purpose of the ear is served by being near them. Yeah. So what this means is that when we are reading Bhagavad Gita, when we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the association of devotees also, or alone also, all these great scriptures, they are actually personalities. Yeah, they're not just books or they're not just scriptures. And the mode in which we approach these scriptures, the Lord will reveal themselves to us to that extent. Yeah. The more curiosity we have, the more genuine interest we have to know more about the pastimes, we'll get more out of it. So that is very important for us to understand. And just hearing about the glories of the Lord, yeah, discussing the glories. So Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Samvido Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana Krita Tajjoshanadashwa Apavarga Vartmani Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukramishati. So that's what the devotees do all the time. They are all in the association of each other and talking about the glories of the Lord. It gives so much ras to the ears. Yeah. So we drink Srimad Bhagavatam not through our mouth, yeah, through our ears. That is how it enters us, yeah, and then it gives us so much pleasure. So then, if we do that in a systematic way, then Shraddha, Ratin, Bhakti, Anukramishyati. So, Shraddha means faith, Ratir means attachment, deep attachment to the Lord, and Bhakti. Then it will come step by step. All this will just fall in place. All we have to do is hear the glories of the Lord, be in the association of devotees, and rest will take care of itself. There is a word here. Jiva Goswami therefore concludes that the topics regarding the transcendental activities of the Lord are far beyond the transcendental realization of Kaivalya happiness. Does anyone know what this means? Kaivalya happiness का क्या मतलब है?
So Kaivalya happiness is the happiness that one gets while merging into Brahma Jyoti, right?
Perfect. Yes, absolutely. So यही ऊपर भी लिखा है श्रील प्रभुपाद ने. The impersonalists are very much afraid of hearing the activities of the Lord. They are afraid of hearing the Lord because they think that the happiness derived from the transcendental situation of Brahman is the ultimate goal of life. Just merging in the light, in the Brahma Jyoti, that is the ultimate happiness. Yeah, that is the Kaivalya happiness. There is happiness in that. There is Anand in that. But that is selling yourself very short. You're just going for the lowest hanging fruit. That's not what we want because that is very temporary. You'll fall down again after that. We have to engage in bhakti and go much beyond that. Go back home, back to the Godhead, to Golok Vrindavan. That is the understanding here. So in the summary, what Maitri Muni is saying is कि क्या बताऊं मैं कृष्ण के बारे में. जितना सुना है, जितना मैंने अपने गुरु से सुना है, whatever I have assimilated, I am trying to explain. But the most important thing for me is that I have heard all these things and I am relaying it. So Srila Prabhupada is just focusing more on that. Shrunvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam. Hridayasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti suhrta satam. So we have to listen to Katha of Krishna, Srinvatam. This is the most important organ which we have. Listen to the Katha of Krishna and Punya Shravana Kirtanam. So you'll get all kinds of Punya. And अपने हृदय में जो भी अभद्राणी है, all the misgivings, misfortune, कलेश जो भी है, what happens to that? Vidhunoti Suhrita Satam. Krishna himself, because he is Suhrida, yeah, he is a well-wisher. He, of all the devotees, he will himself clean all those things, all the misgivings, and make our heart uh, clean and soft. Yeah, so that is the understanding here, really. Text 38 we have done. No, we have not done 38, is it? Okay. आत्मनो वशितो वत्स महिमा कविनादिना कविनादिना संवत्सर सहस्रन्ते धिय योगा विपक्कया.
Hare Krishna. Translation. O my son, the virginal poet Brahma, after mature meditation for 1000 celestial years, could know only that the glories of the Supreme Soul are inconceivable. Purport. There are some froggish philosophers who want to know the Supreme Soul by means of philosophy and mental speculation. And when the devotees who are to some extent in knowledge of the Supreme Lord admit that the glories of the Lord are inestimable or inconceivable, the froggish philosophers adversely criticize them. These philosophers, like the frog in the well, who tried to estimate the measurement of the Pacific Ocean, like to take trouble over fruitless mental speculation instead of taking instructions from devotees like the virginal poet, namely Brahma. Lord Brahma underwent a severe type of meditation for 1000 celestial years. Yet he said that the glories of the Lord are inconceivable. Therefore, what can the froggish philosophers hope to gain from their mental speculations? It is said in Brahma Samhita that the mental speculator may fly through the sky of speculation with the velocity of the mind or the wind for thousands of millions of years, and still he will not find it inconceivable. The devotees, however, do not waste time in such vain searching after knowledge of the Supreme, but they submissively hear the glories of the Lord from bona fide devotees. Thus, they transcendently enjoy the process of hearing and chanting. The Lord approves of the devotional activities of the devotees Mahatmas, and he says, Mahatmanas tumam partha dhaivim prakritim asrita भजन्ति अनन्यमानसो ज्ञानत्वा भूतधिम अव्ययम सततं कीर्तयन्तो मां यतन्ताश्च धृदाव्रता नमस्यन्ताश्च मां भक्त्या नित्ययुक्त उपासते. Bhagavad Gita 9.1314. The pure devotees of the Lord take shelter of the Paraprakriti, the internal potency of the Lord, called Lakshmi Devi, Sita Devi, Srimati Radharani, or Srimati Rukmini Devi, and thus they become actual Mahatmas or great souls. Mahatmas are not fond of indulging in mental speculations, but they actually take to the devotional service of the Lord without the slightest deviation. Devotional service is manifested by the primary process of hearing and chanting about the activities of the Lord. This transcendental method practiced by the Mahatmas gives them sufficient knowledge of the Lord, because if the Lord can at all be known to some extent, it is only through the means of devotional service and no other way. One may go on speculating and waste the valuable time of his human life, but that will not help anyone to enter in the presence of the Lord. The Mahatmas, however, are not concerned with knowing the Lord by mental speculation, because they enjoy hearing about his glorious activities in his transcendental dealings with his devotees or with the demons. The devotees take pleasure in both and are happy in this life and the life after.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So again, the glories of hearing is highlighted here by Srila Prabhupada. So Maitri Muni is saying that Brahmaji, after mature meditation of 1000 years, even he could not know all the glories of the Lord. So let's not even try to get into that. Yeah. Let's just surrender to the Supreme Lord and understand one thing, that studying all these things, studying all the Vedas and all, we'll come to one conclusion that we cannot understand Krishna in full. Yeah. If we are in that mode, because he's too too much for our small mental capabilities, our small intellectual capabilities. Yeah, it's not possible. So we have to just surrender and enjoy the process. Talk about the Lord, listen to his glories, listen to all the pastimes of the Lord with his devotees, with the demons, how he's dealt with the demons, all these things. That's all. That's all we have to remember. Just don't try to use your brain to try. क्या कर सकते हैं? Can the Lord do this? Can he do that? No, he can do anything. So let's not get into that. That is the understanding here, really. अतो भगवतो माया मायिनामपि मोहिनी यत् चात्मवर्त्मन् वर्त्मात्मा न वेद किम उतापरे.
The wonderful potency of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead is bewildering even to the jugglers. That potency is unknown even to the self sufficient Lord, so it is certainly unknown to others. The froggish philosophers and mundane wranglers in science and mathematical calculation may not believe in the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, but they are sometimes puzzled by the wonderful jugglery of man and nature. Such jugglers and magicians of the mundane world are actually puzzled by the jugglery of the Lord in his transcendental activities, but they try to adjust their bewilderment by saying that it is all mythology. There is, however, nothing impossible or mythology in the supreme omnipotent person. The most wonderful puzzle for the mundane wranglers is that while they remain calculating the length and breadth of the unlimited potency of the supreme person, his faithful devotees are set free from the bondage of material engagement and casement simply by appreciating the wonderful jugglery of the Supreme in the practical field. The devotees of the Lord can see the wonderful dexterity in everything with which they come in contact in all circumstances of eating, sleeping, working, etc. A small banyan tree contains thousands of small seeds, and each seeds hold the potency of another tree, which again holds the potency of many millions of such fruits as causes and effects. So the trees and seeds engage the devotees in meditation about the activities of the Lord, while the mundane wranglers waste time in dry speculation and mental concoction, which are fruitless in both this life and the next. In spite of their pride in speculation, they can never appreciate the simple activities of the banyan tree potency. Such speculators are poor souls destined to remain in matter perpetually. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So yeah, here jugglers, the word jugglers means people who are trying to use the words, yeah, juggling, trying to make sense that this combination, that combination of the can maybe make us try to understand Lord and all things like. But then he's the supreme juggler. He's balancing everything. So jugglers are the ones who are we see in the circus throwing 4 balls at a time, just making sure it's not falling down and all. The Supreme Lord is so smoothly, the whole cosmic manifestation is running so smoothly. So many things are going at the right speed, at the right distance, everything at the right time. There is no problems anywhere, and only somebody like Krishna can do it so perfectly. Yeah. So this is something which causes confusion for mental speculators, and then they end up calling it mythology. There is nothing called mythology. Yeah, it all is real. Krishna is not a mythical character. None of these personalities are mythical. Yeah. So that is the thing that the devotee, what does he do? He accepts Sri Krishna as the supreme. He can do anything. And then he's freed from this mental, material engagement. Whereas these speculators are poor souls who are destined to remain in matter perpetually. इसी माया नगरी में आगे पीछे घूमते रहेंगे. They will not go to the spiritual world. This is the last verse. यथो प्राप्य न्यवर्तन्त Vachasta manasa saha aham chanya ime devas tasmai bhagavate namaha. Words, okay, I'll read it just for saving time. Words, mind, and ego, with their respective controlling demigods, have failed to achieve success in knowing the supreme personality of Godhead. Therefore, we simply have to offer our respectful obeisances unto him as a matter of sanity. अगर आप if you want to stay sane, दिमाग खराब नहीं करना, just surrender yourself that yes, he is the supreme. Yeah, let's not try to, because words, minds, egos, all these things, and the controlling demigods, they have also not been able to succeed in knowing the supreme personality of Godhead. We can know in a small quantity, we cannot know him in full. Yeah. So again, the frog, the famous frog is coming up. Let's see. Yeah, it's a small puppet. I will only read it. The froggish calculator may raise the objection that if this absolute is unknowable, even by the controlling deities of speech, mind, and ego, namely the Vedas, Brahma, Rudra, and all the demigods headed by Brihaspati, then why should the devotees be so interested in this unknown object? So that is the mood of the speculators who are there. जब ब्रह्मा नहीं समझ सके, जब शिव जी नहीं समझ सके, तो फिर then why are these devotees trying to find what the Lord is all about? The answer is that the transcendental ecstasy enjoyed by the devotees in delineating the pastimes of the Lord is certainly unknown to the non-devotees and mental speculators. Talking about the Lord, reading about the Lord, hearing about the Lord, उसमें ही इतना आनंद आता है. So that is something which the non-devotees are not able to find. Yeah, transcendental ecstasy which we are getting. Unless one relishes the transcendental joy, naturally one will come back from his speculations and concocted conclusions, because he'll see them as neither factual nor enjoyable. Because the faith is not there. So you just say that no, this is all not factual. Yeah. The devotees can at least know that the absolute truth is the supreme personality of God and Vishnu, as the Vedic hymns confirm. Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Surya. And the Bhagavad Gita 15:15 also confirms that Vedescha Sarver Aham Eva Vedyo. By culture of Vedic knowledge, one must know Lord Krishna and should not falsely speculate on the word Aham or I. The only method for understanding the supreme truth is devotional service, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 18:55. Bhaktyamam avijananti yavanyas yas chashmi tatvatah. Only by devotional service can one know that the ultimate truth is the personality of Godhead, and that Brahman and Paramatma are only his partial features. Bhagavan is the supreme understanding. This is confirmed in this verse by the great sage Maitreya. With devotion, he offers his sincere surrender, Namaha, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavate. One has to follow in the footsteps of great sages and devotees like Maitreya and Vidur, Maharaj Parikshit, and Shukadev Goswami, and engage in the transcendental devotional service to the Lord if one would know his ultimate feature, which is above Brahman and Paramatma. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purports of third canto, 6th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Creation of the Universal Form. Thank you very much. And thank you for your patience. Sorry for exceeding, but I
Thank
wanted.
you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Any questions, any comments? Otherwise, I'll hand it over to Suval Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Too many verses we covered in today's class as well as the previous one, but you explained very nicely. Brief but a nice explanation. It covered so many aspects, and appreciate your knowledge also on this. Thank you so much.
Hare
And
Krishna.
apologies, we had a very less attendance today. Hopefully, Krishna to bring more people to this class.
Definitely, we will. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Dandavat pranam, Prabhu.
And Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Patitana Pavane
वनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वृंद की
वैष्णव गुरु
जय।
की जय।
Thank you
थैंक यू
very
प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्ण।
much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण।